That was a tearjerker, wasn't it? I know. Happy Mother's Day. Let's all let out a big sigh of relief that video is over. There's another mom's. Tim was like, why do you want something that's going to make you cry? I'm like, we like to cry, okay? Just give us one thing. It's fine. Can we just for a moment take, just honor and celebrate all the mamas here? We have people that are moms, people that have moms. I want us to celebrate like it's the Super Bowl. Stand up. If you're in your living room, stand up and just give it up for mom. Yes, that's better. They don't deserve a little polite clap. Let's go. So good. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. You may be seated. We're so glad that you're here today. If you're online with us, we're so glad to have you. I'm Tim's wife, Carrie. If you're new and you're like, who is this person? That doesn't look like Tim Bourne to me. I'm Tim's wife, and every Mother's Day, I speak for Genesis Metro Church, and Tim gives me the honor to do that, and I love to be here. So this year is no different. This year, it's Mother's Day, and it's a little different than we normally do. We are in this room. If you're online with us, most of you are online watching today. This room is very spread out. Every family is sitting together and nobody's touching anyone. And it's just a really weird feeling to do church like this. But what we know is we are so grateful because God is over all of this. It doesn't matter if you're at home in your living room or you're here at church with us today. God is still God. He's still on the throne and he's always in control, right? Do you believe that? Do you believe that at home? We believe that God is working. So another milestone today, I'm going to blow your mind, is that this is going to start week 10 of COVID-19 social distance shutdown. 10 weeks. 10 weeks. Weeks. Did you think this was going to last 10 weeks when this started? I bet we're about 50-50. Who thought, oh, this is going to be over in a couple weeks. We'll be out and about. I cannot wait to binge watch all my shows, right? And then who thought, I'm not leaving my house till January? Who was that? No. Right, exactly. We're going to leave that right back there. So we are here 10 weeks later, and we're in the middle of this, and we don't really know when they're going to let us do more and more things or when it's safe to come out. Some people are staying at home because that's the smart choice for their health, and we support you. We love you. We miss you. We can't wait to be together again. But one thing we know for sure is that in the midst of this thing that we've been involved in and we've been walking through, I think I've said the word unprecedented more times in the last 10 weeks than I've ever said in my whole life or heard it, right? The most unprecedented season. No one could see this coming or knew it was coming. It's things that we see movies about and we hear Hollywood talk about, but we never actually experience them. And in the midst of this, we have these crazy days where like you don't shower for 4 or 5 days on end. Who went more than 2 days without showering at any point in the last 10 weeks? Oh, there's a few. The first service was mostly non-showerers, FYI. You're clean people. Godliness and cleanliness, they go together, I guess. But there's some of that. What about on like Zoom calls? You got like you're dressed up here, but like pajamas, comfy, right? Am I the only one? I mean, is it just me? Okay, yeah, over here. So there's all this crazy stuff we're doing to make it through this whole time. What about teaching your kids at school? Have you ever been so grateful for teachers in your whole life? We're going to need to do a little better than that for our teachers. There's some in the room that are offended already. Yes, for our teachers. Yes. Yes, amen for our teachers. We love you, teachers. Thank you so much for all you do. But it's been a little crazy season. Not only those kinds of things, but about the deeper issues that have come about as a result of this. Like all of your triggers of fear have been hit. I mean, if you are someone who struggles with fear in your life, then you're just scrolling through your phone and like article after article is showing you all the ways the world is going to end. And you have but a few weeks to get your affairs in order. That's what it feels like. And if you dare walk out of your house, the particles are floating through the air and they're going to land in your eye. And then your entire lung system is going to shut down. That's the way I've read articles that tell me that. If you walk out of your house and maybe in places where it's really concentrated, like New York City and places that have really seen it badly, that is the case. But it hasn't been the case for us here in Texas. But if we let our minds go there, that fear can grip us so quickly. And then all of a sudden we have spiraled out of control down this rabbit hole that God never intended for us to go. So there's been some funny things. There have been some serious things, but nonetheless, we're walking through this time. And in this season, I can't think of a better thing that we can connect to, each of us in here, men, women, children, teenagers, than needing to be anchored to something in order to stay afloat in the middle of a season that's difficult and unknown and has not been navigated before. So, of course, we need to be anchored. Today, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk about being anchored to something. We're going to just talk about one verse. We're going to pull it apart. If you've heard me teach at all, I really like to dive in and just, I want to know what the word to means in that verse. I want to know which inflection and blah, blah, blah. I love these things. So we're going to nerd out on one verse, one line. It's Hebrews 6:19. They're going to put it up. And in the midst of this, it's Hebrews 6:19, and it says, we have this hope as an anchor for the soul, safe and secure. So you can leave that up for just a moment. We're gonna break this entire verse apart in a minute. But before we do that, I want to ask you, is there anything you've learned this season that you will be able to take with you as you move forward? Is there anything you've learned? Have you been asked that? I feel like people are starting to get reflective now at the 10 weeks in. Now we're done having fun. We've watched every show. I mean, if you're like, have you talked to people and they're like, have you watched this? Yes, I've watched that. Have you watched this? Yes, I've watched that. Have you watched this? Yes, we've watched that. You need something new to do. Now you've organized the pantry and the cabinets and your closet, and you're just running out of things to do. So now we got to get deeper and get reflective, right? So I wonder, what have we learned in this season? What can you take forward in your life that will maybe you can capture, that maybe God's trying to like really drive down in there? One of the things I've learned for me is something I won't forget soon. I won't forget soon. I have 3 boys, as you know. We have 3 boys, 19, 17, and 12. Everybody just had a birthday, so I'm like, wait, how old is everybody? But it's crazy and rowdy. They're funny. They're fun. We've had a lot of fun. We're also all very strong personalities, so we have, just to be honest, we have butted heads a little bit. Is there anyone else that's like, just, you know what? Think it's time for a general timeout, right? Is there anybody else? I mean, if you have, if anybody has like passive people and everybody's just, oh, it's fine, whatever you want to eat, that's fine. We're not like that at our house. But I have learned that I need to now, from now on, just to go ahead and say no to Titus when he wants me to star in a video for Fuse. So they've been making these TikTok videos, and he's like, Mom, you want to be in our video? I'm like, yes, I love this. Let's do it. And then I get got. So watch the ways he has gotten me over the last few weeks.
Over my head, not my shoulder.
No, I was going to grind it.
Oh, gosh.
He was going to pay me money to break eggs on my head.
Actually, never mind.
You are giving me all that money.
I'm going to do one egg.
Oh, gosh. Ah.
Yep.
Oh, my God. You
He had poured water all over the floor and pulled me through it. You like that? Are y'all awake? Is that funny? I was like, and then somebody texted and said, why do you keep believing him that he's wanting you to star in a video? Like, do you get it yet? I'm like, because he asks a different way every time. It's like super casual and like acts like I'm not really going to be in it. And then all of a sudden Coke is exploding all over me. So yeah, anyway, I've learned a few things in this season with all these boys in the house, and I've needed an anchor. So if we get back to the verse, we have this hope as an anchor for the soul. So let's just take the very first phrase. We have this hope. That's point number 1. We have this hope. So I have it, meaning like I have this computer, like that. Like I have a computer. Like I have my Bible right here. I have my water bottle. What do you have in your hand? Just look. What do you have? Maybe nothing. You're like, I didn't bring anything because you're gonna get your germs on it. So I left it in my car. But if you have your pen, you have your notebook, you have your mask, right? If you go to the store, hey, you got your keys. Do you have your keys? Do you have your wallet? Do you have your kid? Have you ever been in there in the store when you're like, oh yeah, I lost a kid somewhere? Target security, find my kids, right? If you got a lot of them, you got to find them. But when you have something, you have possession of it. You're holding it. It's mine. This is my water bottle. You wouldn't want to drink after me right now because COVID. So, we have things, they're in our possession and we're holding them. So this verse, when it says we have, I just always want to stop right there and go, what does that mean? We have. That means I have it like as if it's mine and I'm holding it. It's an object. We have what? We have this hope. Well, I had to stop at that. We have this hope. This hope. I have this hope. It's like this one that's right here with me. Not that hope way over there. Not the hope in that person's house down the street. Not her hope in her marriage. Not the hope they have in that job that makes them like $300,000 a year. Not the hope in, all my social media following. Not that hope for someone else or in something else, but I have this hope. This hope. Look at your neighbor and say, I have this hope. Oh, say it like you believe it. I have this hope. This one. It's not someone else's. It's not going away. It's right here with me. I have this hope. Next point, an anchor for the soul, as an anchor for the soul. So I'm holding this hope as an anchor for the soul. Now here's where this gets interesting as we start to lay this out a little bit. The anchor is the strength, right? Do you see that's the strength in this scenario? So I have something, it's hopeful, but now comes like the foundation underneath it. So here's this anchor. So when you drop an anchor down from a boat and it goes out into the water, it's designed, it's absolutely designed in every way, every line, every edge, every curve. It's designed to be able to dig into the ocean floor or the bottom of the lake and really secure that thing in place, whether it's a boat or a yacht or, a barge, whatever it is. They make them all shapes and sizes. If you're out on the ocean, on the Atlantic, and you come up on, a little cove, there's moors, and those are just basically anchors that stay in place, and they've built those. Those are dug into the ground, and you clip into that anchor, and it secures it in place. It secures it in place. The position is firmly held by the anchor. So I have this hope as an anchor, the strength for my soul. So there's this progression. What do I have? I have hope. It's the strength for my soul. Well, now we're talking about like really deep stuff. Talking about your soul, right? That's that secret place down inside where, God is always trying to get to us. The Bible says that when our soul agrees with him on who he is and what he's done for us and his sacrifice and what that means, that there's this relationship that's ignited in this exchange that takes place. And forever and ever and ever, we are tied to him. The Bible says in Ephesians 1:13 that when we accept Christ, that we are sealed with the Holy Spirit until the day that we see him again, the day of redemption. So there's this exchange that takes place. But when you're talking about this anchor for the soul, that's the business we're talking about here. And there's just phrase of very few words. Then it goes on to give us descriptor words, safe and secure. We have this anchor for the soul that's safe and secure. Now here's something that took me back. When I think of safety, and this was my experience growing up, but when I think of safety, I think of someone caring about me, someone that's concerned about me getting home okay. Someone that's concerned about protecting me. I thought back to my mom. My mom's watching online. Hi, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. I told her I was going to give her a shout out. She's like, I can't log in at 9:30. My church starts at 10, and we try to watch 4 or 5 church services every week. Okay, great. I'll see you at 11:30. So my mom in high school, I remember that she would always say to me, hey, let me give you some money so you can call me if you need me. Anybody? Like 4 quarters. She'd give me 4 quarters every time I'd leave. And she'd say, because we didn't have cell phones. Oh yeah, we didn't have cell phones back then. Old, ages ago. Oh my gosh, we're so old. And she would say, call me if you ever get into a situation that you're scared of or you're unsure of, and I will come find you. I'll come get you wherever you are. And I remember always, first of all, being annoyed. Any teenagers that are like, I get it. I'm supposed to be careful. If my kids are going like to the store that's like 1/8 of a mile from our house, I'm like, be careful. Don't get run over. He's like, I'm 17. I'm going to try not to get run over today, right? Anybody? Teenagers? It's just a thing we do. I don't know, because we just want you to remember that we don't want you to get killed out there. We're concerned about you. We want you to come home safe. Still today, when I go visit my mom, she'll say, text me when you get home, like 7 hours later, right? Sometimes I forget, and she's like, I stayed up all night just worrying if you were dead on the side of the road. Has anybody done that? I'm like, Mom, I'm 44 years old. I'm home. I'm good. But it's a thing we do. But think about the picture of God with us. If our love for our children is at a certain level, his love for us just reaches these astronomical heights we can't begin to imagine. So he's concerned about our safety. So that anchor that's securing us in place is also a safe place for us to get us home okay, to be sure that we're escorted correctly from danger and tucked in bed at night in a place of safety. The next word is secure. That it's an anchor for our soul that is secure. When I think of the word secure, I think of like security system, like a house that's got alarms built in. And if a window opens or the door opens and the alarm's been set, what happens? All these sirens go off, right? It's gonna alert you of imminent danger. If there's somebody creeping in, like there's a sniper on your front door in case anybody tries to come in and get you. I think of a security system being this thing that protects, that guards, that is always at watch. And so if I apply that to this verse that I have this hope as an anchor, something that locks me into place for my soul that's safe and secure. Well, my goodness, why would you not want that? I feel like I win in every way in that scenario. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul. So as we've laid our foundation now for what the word says there, let's think about how we can play this out in our lives. Last week, Pastor Tim started a new series called Find a Way. It was actually supposed to be the brotherhood theme this year for Uprising. Wah, wah. They didn't get to have it. It was last weekend. Everybody's so sad. But we went ahead and started the series because he's been planning it for months and months and months. So when I think of being anchored, I think, because Tim was like, are you going to be able to do Find a Way? I'm like, yeah, I got to find a way to be anchored, right? I have to find a way. There you go. Here's my anchor. So in my life, as I walk around with God, in your life, think of it if you were holding this rope. We've got several ropes attached here. Ben Burbrick did a fantastic job building my little illustration. Everybody give it up for Ben. He loves the attention also. Sorry. So we have this clip. This thing is a rope that's got a clip, and it's tethered to that anchor. So when I decide to follow Jesus, right, for the first time, let's say I accept Christ as my Savior. I get this thing in. You know what? It only works if you clip it. Okay, there it goes. All right. So when I decide to follow Jesus, here I am clipped in. And I'm excited about what God is going to do in my life. I hear about his love. I see it in other people, and I want it for myself. And I also have just experienced this incredible encounter with the Lord and Savior and the Almighty God. And I am ready to follow after him because he just pours out his love on me. And in that exchange, I mentioned it a while ago, in that exchange, there is never a time, there is nothing that can separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus. But at every moment in our lives, God has given us a free will to choose. Do you see that? God has given us a free will. So yes, we have made the decision to have him come in, ask him to come in and indwell us, our soul. That's what we're talking about today, and be with us. So he always will be. That will never, ever stop. It will never go away. There is nothing I can do to undo that. The Bible says that there is nothing that can separate us from the love of God. But along the way of life, let's say you're 7 years old when you accept Christ and you start this relationship and you live to be 77. That whole time, he's right there. That anchor's with you. But you also have choices to make in that span of years. If you only know the Lord for 2 years before you die, whatever your time length is, you have choices along the way to unclip and kind of do your own thing. Right? And then what happens is we encounter God again, and we're reminded that we asked him to come in. So he's always going to be in there convicting and whispering, hey, you're going the wrong way. So then you pick up your clip again and you're like, oh yeah, why did I ever unclip? Man, that was a bad idea. Let me get back up. Okay, I'm back. There's another in the fire. Yes, you're right there, right? And then you walk and you go, and then you get around these other people, and they're not really into it, really. And so, you just decide to, sometimes it's not even like a decision. It just kind of falls off because you're not paying attention to it. It's kind of a nuisance. And so you just unclip and you leave it. And then, of course, you get pulled back in. And have you lived long enough to realize we repeat this cycle over and over and over and over? And it's like, you're like, why can't I get it? Do you ever, like when you have another moment with God where he's like, wake up, girl, wake up. Do you ever ask yourself like, why am I here again? Why have I found myself here again? I feel like I just had this conversation with God. But here we are. A few things happen when we decide to unclip, though. A few things happen. I would submit to you that something like a drowning might occur, that you start to drown in your life, that we start to flail about, and it's this violent chaos and this activity that's just wild, and we're trying to get someone's attention to help us, and we're taking in water, and it's just crazy, and it's quick, and the storms of life, all the things that overwhelm us because we have untethered ourselves and unclipped. We don't have anybody there to pull us up out of the water. Another thing that happens is we tend to drift a little bit. Well, drifting is a little less chaotic. It's a little more passive than drowning. Think of drifting, you know, sometimes you might be like on a raft on the lake and you're like, oh, I'm finally outside. Close your eyes. You're like, I'm just going to take a nap, just drift right here. And you wake up 10 minutes later, 30 minutes later, sunburned if it's 30 minutes, and you're like way down the beach from where you started. Has anybody experienced that? Anybody? So that drifting is not something that you intentionally did. You didn't try to kick your raft way over, but it just happened with the wind because there was nothing tethering you to a solid place. There was nothing keeping you in place. There was no anchor situation going on with your raft. So we can drown, we can start to drift, also disconnect, but that's easy. Like we see that. That's an easy one. That's just played out right before our eyes. You disconnect from God and you find yourself drowning and you find yourself flailing and you find yourself drifting about. So how do we stay in place? You know, it really does come down to choices. It comes down to submission of the heart. It comes down to, and that word is tough. Submission. I actually Googled synonyms for submission because I just don't think people like that word very much. It's a tough one to swallow. But it comes down to submitting to what God wants for us. So I got to find a way to stay clipped in. That no matter what, I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why it's important to find a way to stay clipped in. I want to ask my kids, all three of them, to come on up. They're going to help me with this. Would you guys welcome them to the stage? Come on up. Come on out, guys. Are y'all back there? Where's the other one? Oh, there he is. Hi, everybody. So find your ropes. Just hold them. Don't put them on yet. This is Silas. He's 12. Titus is 17. Jordan is 19. And I want to give you a reason. One reason we have to find a way to stay clipped in is for our family, right? So some of you are here with your families. If you're at home, you've had a lot of time with your family as well. You're there in your living room. But I just want to submit to you that if we don't pay attention to what's happening with our family and we are so busy that we miss it, we might just miss the opportunity to help them get clipped in, right? Because one thing Tim and I have learned, when we moved here 17 years ago to start GM, Jordan was 20 months old. Little baby Jordan. Tim would sing, little baby Jordan. Has Tim sung this song on a Sunday before? Have you? Little baby Jordan. Do you remember this? Little baby Jordan, he's my friend. Tim made up this song and he doesn't sing really. That's what he sounds like. He's my friend to the end. And then he would insert everyone's name as they came about. Anyway, that was for free. Jordan, 20 months old, then the others came and they only know Genesis Metro Church, right? This is all they know. And it's kind of our whole life, right? So everything about what we do, this is our life's work. But these guys, they didn't get to choose. They were born into a pastor's family, right? I mean, you don't get to choose who your parents are. I mean, and I think all of them at one time or another has been like, why do you have to be pastors? Everybody knows all of our business, all the classic things, right? So, of course, we've had discussions with them along the way because what we want them to see is, I understand you did not choose this, But God chose you to be in this family, so here we go. Let's get it together. Put a smile on your face. And, fake it till you make it, bro. Let's go. We got to get there. But I want to ask you a question. When they're little, for us, we kind of have taken on this philosophy of parenting, of this big picture mentality of, at 18, what do I want them to have that they can walk out of our house with? What do they need to be armed with? What tools do they need? What characteristics? What kind of people do they need to be? So at 18, I need to know what that set of list is, and then I need to work my way backwards and make sure that they're instilled with it. That means that what I have to do is I have to be sure that each one of them is clipped in. I have to do it for them. Tim and I, as parents, have to be sure that they are all clipped in, and there is no way they're going to loosen up, because I wonder at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, you could go on and on, are they going to choose to be clipped into the anchor of God, or are they probably going to want to do their own thing from time to time? Given, as we've already established, we're all creatures of free will and we get to choose, do you think that at those ages we have the capacity to always choose God? Probably not. I want to ask you to raise your hands if you always got it right in your teenage years. So you guys can start walking around anchored as if you're walking around. Go ahead, you can all three go. There you go. You're just walking about your life. And then you get to the point where you're like, oh, I want to be the cool kid. Oh, I want to have all the social media that everybody else has. Oh, I want to date this person, but they don't even go to church. Oh, I just want to not be the pastor's kid. And then, oh, Silas, what's going on here? Oh, listen, you're got a layer of hooked over there. This is a little foreshadowing of things to come, buddy. You got double anchored down. Y'all see his rope is like twisted on the thing over there. He can't move another step. So we're going to pay attention to that and know that God is telling us something. Tim, did he beam that down to you back there? Yeah, we got you. You're going to stay right here. You got no length on that rope, buddy. But what happens when they get out here, way out, and they want to do their own thing? If we haven't made sure that this thing is clipped on, if we haven't made sure that they can't loosen that grip, they will absolutely, Jordan, I'm going to take this off. If I haven't made sure that is secure, Jordan can just go and do whatever he wants. Are you running around? Oh my gosh. So he can run and do whatever he wants with whoever he wants. So it's our job as parents to make sure they're clipped in and to clip in for them until they can make their own choice to do that when they start their lives. Can y'all give it up for Jordan, Titus, and Silas? Great job. Because I want to tell you something, what we want for our kids, and I'm sure you do too, is to be happy, to know who God is, to live under his blessing and his favor, to find someone who makes them happy, to build a life that's kingdom-minded and purposeful, right? But if I don't make sure they get some of that in my house, then I'm responsible for that disconnect. I'm responsible. I will answer for that. Tim will answer for that. So that's not on them because they just have a really strong personality. You just don't understand them. No, there's never been a personality God wasn't in control of. He is always the anchor that everyone needs. And it is never, never, never too late to start and decide that that anchor is about to come into force for your family. All right. The other reason we need to be clipped in is just for people. At Genesis Metro Church, we say it's all about people because we believe that God is all about people. So our greatest cause has become his greatest cause, and that is people, no matter what. So I want to ask now, and one more illustration is I want to ask some ladies to come up. This is what's known as the she staff, the women of Genesis Metro Church on staff. Come on up, all of our pastors. You guys are going to grab a rope, clip on in. They do a lot. I just want you to know these ladies work their fingers to the bone. Even the guys on staff will be like, man. I was like, oh, have you thought, we already got it. She staff did it. Oh, she staff's got that. Oh, she staff. We just love it. We love working together. We love serving together. And you know what? There's nothing we wouldn't do for each other. But I want to show you that 17 years ago, if Tim and I had not clipped in and followed God to Frisco, Texas, so start a church in our living room, essentially, and try to figure it out, here we all are, and raise our kids in it and tether them, then I wonder where these four would be. So this was something Tim and I talked through this week. And he's like, how long has Jesse been at GM? We were kind of doing the math. Jesse's been here 14 years. This is Jesse in the leopard shirt. Jordan Little is right here. She's been here 9 years. Jill Valcanet has been here 7 years. And Angela Spann right here has been here 2 years. What a great cross-section of GM. 14, 9, 7, and 2. Now, obviously, people have come and go, right? God calls people to different places. He moves people around. That's fine. But what was cool as we started thinking about this is, as Jessie walked in as a 12-year-old girl, she's 26, fresh skin, beautiful. Don't you just miss anybody in the room? Like, oh, the 26-year-old, so cute. Jessie walked in at 12. And did we know that God was going to call her to serve his church full time? No, nobody knew that. She didn't know that. But she did know that God started speaking to her that she loved kids. The same with Little. She walked in high school. We call her Little, sorry. She's getting married this summer. I don't know what we're going to call her. Well, we'll see. We'll have to find a new nickname for you. She walked in 9 years ago in high school. Do you think for 1 minute she ever thought that she was going to go to college? She played sports in college, a college athlete, and then come and serve a church full time where God had a position for her? There's no way she could have known that. We did not know that. And then you have Jill, who came with her family. When she came here 7 years ago, they were newly married with a little baby. And God has written this beautiful story in the Valcanets. And 7 years ago, they moved from the Midwest to Texas, knowing no one. And they found a church through a chiropractor, right? Something like that. And then God started sowing that seed in her to come and serve his church in a full-time way. And then Angela and the Spans have been here 2 years. We say at our house we are Span fans. We just like to say that a lot. We just love the Spans. And Angela, she has kids that are my kids' age. She's a 17-year-old and 19-year-old. And so our family's naturally connected, and they were in our life group. That's how we first got to know them 2 years ago. What I want to tell you about Angela is we had this conversation once getting to know each other, and she was telling me that when her kids were little, so the 17 and 19-year-old, 2 and 4, somewhere in there, she had gone to a Bible study at church and was leaving. And I related to that because that's what I was doing when my kids were little, and, go to a Bible study. We both enjoyed those kinds of things, and we connected. And she said she remembers distinctly that God, whispered, called her heart to ministry. When her kids were little in car seats in the car, she said, I have a conversation with God that day, and I didn't know what it was ever going to look like. And you know what? All these years later, this is the first position Angela's had to be able to walk that purpose out. She's been holding on to that for years, that God called her to do something with his kingdom, serving his church. Do you see that? If Tim and I had not clipped in the first place or stayed anchored and clipped into what he wanted for us, then where would these women be? Where would their stories be? Because there's people on your path on the way that need you to stay clipped in because they have a purpose to fulfill, and that process has to keep going somehow, and God calls and uses people to do his work. Can you guys give it up for the She staff? Thank you so much. So in this finding a way to clip in, finding a way to stay anchored, we have to find a way for our family. We have to find a way for people. And we need to do that because people are counting on you. They're counting on me. We don't get a pass. We don't get to wake up and say, I'm done peopling. They have driven me crazy. I'm done. Some of you are like, I kind of say that every day I wear the shirt. Well, you know what? It's funny. It's a funny joke. I get it. You got to take a break. Tim and I were different personalities. He needs to recharge by alone time. I need to recharge with a party, right? Is it anybody? We're like total opposites. So you're probably one of those two in here. So I get it that you need some time to recharge, but we don't get a pass at not caring about people. We don't get a pass because we're frustrated or irritated or they're driving us crazy or their personalities like oil and water and they talk all the time and they tell jokes all the time and they're just all these things. We don't get a pass to not care and not stay anchored in because people are counting on you. Your family is counting on you. Let's be the church that stays anchored in because we have this hope as an anchor for the soul, safe and secure. And it's not just for us, it's for everyone else. Would you pray with me as we get ready to worship and ask God to move in this room? God, we thank you for all that you've done. We thank you that there is nothing we can do to separate from your love. That there is nothing that will happen that will remove us from your grip. God, we thank you that though we may encounter storms, we may encounter the wind, we may encounter difficulty or sickness or disease, that you keep us anchored in place. We don't ever have to be adrift so far that we are miles and miles and miles away from your anchoring point, because you've firmly locked us in position with you, God, and you're going to keep us on that path. Lord, I pray that there is any doubt in this room. If there's anyone that's listening to this at home with their family online, just skeptical, I just challenge you to let the anchor do its work. Give God the control. And see if you don't look back in a year and watch that his hand has moved on your behalf and your family's behalf and the people around you. Let's ask God for breakthroughs so big we can never forget them. Would you stand and worship with us at home, here in this room? God, do your work.